Second Kings chapter 9. Elijah and Jehu of Israel. Elijah the prophet called one of the gallant prophets and said to him, "Get ready for a journey. Take this flask of oil with you and go to Ramoth Gilead. When you get there, look for Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi. Enter and take him away from his companions and bring him into an inner chamber. From the flask you have, pour oil on his head and say, 'Thus says the Father, I anoint you king over Israel.' Then open the door and flee without delay." The prophet's aide, went to Ramoth Gilead. When he arrived, the commanders of the army were in session. He said, "I have a message for you, commander." Jehu asked, "For which one of us?" "For you, commander," he answered. Jehu got up and went into the house. Then the prophet's aide poured the oil on his head and said, "Thus says the Father, the God of Israel, Most High I am, I anoint you king over the people of the Father, Most High, over Israel. You shall destroy the house of Ahab, your master. Thus will I avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of all the other servants of the Father shed by Jezebel. The whole house of Ahab shall perish. I will cut off from Ahab's line every male, whether bond or free in Israel. I will make the house of Ahab like that of Jeroboam son of Nebat, and like that of Baasha son of Ahijah. In the confines of Jezreel, the dogs shall devour Jezebel, so that no one can bury her." Then he opened the door and fled. When Jehu rejoined his master's servants, they asked him, "Is all well? Why did that madman come to you?" He replied, "You know that kind of man and his talk." But they said, "Tell us another lie." So he told them, "This is what the prophet's aide said to me. Thus says the Father, Most High who I am, I anoint you king over Israel." At once each took his garment, spread it on Jehu on the bare steps, blew the horn, and cried out, "Jehu is king." The end of the Amrit dynasty. Death of Joram of Israel. Jehu, son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, formed a conspiracy against Joram. Joram, with all Israel, had been besieging Ramoth Gilead against Hazael, king of Aram, but had returned to Jezreel to be healed of the wounds of the Arameans had afflicted on him in the battle against Hazael, king of Aram. Jehu said to him, "If this is what you really want, see that no one escapes from the city to report to Jezreel." Then Jehu mounted his chariot and drove to Jezreel, where Joram lay ill, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, had come to visit him. The watchman standing on the tower in Jezreel saw the troop of Jehu coming and reported, "I see chariots." Joram said, "Get a driver and send him to meet them and to ask them whether all is well." So horsemen went out to meet him and said, "The king asked, 'Is everything all right?'" Jehu said, "What does it matter to you how things are? Get behind me." The watchman reported to the king, "The messenger has reached him, but is not returning." Joram sent a second horseman, who went with him and said, "The king asks, 'Is everything all right? What does it matter to you how things are?'" Jehu replied, "Get behind me." The watchman reported, "He has reached him, but is not returning. The driving is like that of Jehu, son of Nimshi. He drives like a madman." "Hitch up my chariot," said Joram, and they hitched up his chariot. Then Joram, king of Israel, and Ahaziah, king of Judah, set out, each in his own chariot, to meet Jehu. They reached him near the plot of ground of Naboth the Jezreelite. When Joram recognized Jehu, he asked, "Is everything all right, Jehu?" Jehu replied, "How could everything be all right as long as all the harlotry and sorcery of your mother Jezebel continues?" Joram ran about and fled, crying to Ahaziah, "Treason, Ahaziah!" But Jehu had drawn his bow, and he shot Joram between the shoulders, so that the arrow went through his heart, and he collapsed in his chariot. Then Jehu said to his adjutant, Bidkar, "Take him and throw him into the plot of ground in the field of Naboth the Jezreelite. For remember when you and I were driving teams behind Ahab his father? The father delivered this oracle against him. As surely as I saw yesterday the blood of Naboth and the blood of his sons, oracle of the Father Most High I am, I will repay you for it in that very plot of ground. Oracle of the Father. So now take him and throw him in this plot of ground, in keeping with the word of the Father Most High who I am." Death of Ahaziah of Judah. Seeing what was happening, Ahaziah, king of Judah, fled toward Beth Hagan Jehu pursued him, shouting, "Him too!" They struck him as he rode through the pass of Gur, near Ibleam. But he continued his flight as far as Megiddo and died there. His servants brought him in a chariot to Jerusalem, and they buried him in his grave with his ancestors in the city of David. In the 11th year of Joram, son of Ahab, Ahaziah became king over Judah. Death of Jezebel. Jehu came to Jezreel, and when Jezebel heard of it, she shadowed her eyes, adorned her hair, and looked down from her window. As Jehu came through the gate, she cried out, "Is all well? You Zimri, murderer of your master." Jehu looked up to the window and shouted, "Who is on my side? Who?" At this, 2 or 3 eunuchs looked down toward him. "Throw her down," he ordered. They threw her down, and some of her blood spurted against the wall and against the horses. Jehu trod over her body, and after eating and drinking, he said, "Attend to that accursed woman and bury her, for she was the daughter of a king." But when they went to bury her, they found nothing of her but the skull, the feet, and the hands. They returned to Jehu, and when they told him, he said, "This is the word the Father Most High, who I am, spoke through his servant Elijah the Tishbite. In the confines of Jezreel, the dogs shall devour the flesh of Jezebel. The corpse of Jezebel shall be like dung in the field in the confines of Jezreel, so that no one can say, 'This was Jezebel.'" Chapter 10. Death of the sons of Ahab of Israel. Ahab had 70 sons in Samaria. Jehu wrote letters and sent them to Samaria to the elders who were rulers of Jezreel and to Ahab's guardians. Jehu wrote, "Since your master's sons are with you, as well as his chariots, horses, fortified city, and weaponry, when this letter reaches you, decide which is best and the fittest of your master's sons. Place them on his father's throne and fight for your master's house." They were overcome with fright and said, "If the 2 kings could not withstand him, how can we?" So the master of the palace and the chief of the city, along with the elders and the guardians, sent this message to Jehu: "We are your servants, and we will do everything you tell us. We will proclaim no one king. Do whatever you think best." So Jehu wrote them a second letter: "If you are on my side and will obey me, bring along the heads of your master's sons and come to me in Jezreel at this time tomorrow." The 70 princes were in the care of prominent men of the city who were rearing them. When the letter arrived, they took the princes and slew all 70 of them, put their heads in baskets, and sent them to Jehu in Jezreel. A messenger came in and told him, "They have brought the heads of the princes." He said, "Pile them in 2 heaps at the gate of the city until morning." In the morning he came outside, stood there, and said to all the people, "You are guiltless, for it was I who conspired against my Lord and slew him. But who killed all these? Know that not a single word which the Father has spoken against the house of Ahab shall fail. The Father Most High, who I am, has accomplished what he decreed through his servant Elijah." And so Jehu slew all who were left of the house of Ahab in Jezreel, as well as all his powerful supporters, intimates, and priests, leaving him no survivor. Then he went back inside. Death of the relatives of Ahaziah of Judah. He set out for Samaria, and at Beth-Eked, Haroim, on the way, Jehu came across relatives of Ahaziah, king of Judah. "Who are you?" he asked, and they said, "We are relatives of Ahaziah. We are going down to visit the princes and the family of the queen mother." "Take them alive," Jehu ordered. They were taken alive, 42 in number, then slain at the pit of Beth-Eked. Not one of them survived. When he set out from there, Jehu met Jehonadab, son of Rechab, on the road. He greeted him and asked, "Are you with me wholeheartedly, as I am with you?" "Yes," he replied. "If you are, give me your hand." He gave him his hand, and he had him mount his chariot and said, "Come with me and see my zeal for the Father Most High, who I am." And they took him along in his chariot. Slaughter of the worshippers of Baal. When he arrived in Samaria, Jehu slew all who were left of Ahab's line in Samaria, doing away with them completely according to the word of the Father spoke to Elijah. Jehu gathered all the people together and said to them, "Ahab served Baal to some extent, but Jehu will serve him yet more. Now summon me all Baal's prophets, all his servants, and all his priests. See that no one is absent, for I have a great sacrifice for Baal. Whoever is absent shall not live." Then Jehu as a ruse, so that he might destroy the servants of Baal.